Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll get started in a couple of brief moments. Our presentation today will feature 3D product configurators, and we're going to focus on enabling what we refer to as the business-friendly experience. Okay, why don't we get started? So, as I said, today's presentation is going to focus on 3D product configurators, and here we go. Here's our brief agenda. I've got 30 to 45 minutes of your time, and I appreciate that. I'll try to go as fast as I can through these slides, and so hopefully I don't sound as if my speech is too slurred. But again, we're grateful for your time, and want to make sure we've got relevant information for you. So in terms of introductions, I'll talk about the team at Javelin that works with product configurators, our industry application team. DriveWorks is the platform that we help customers implement. We're going to talk about who needs product configurators, and I'm going to show you some amazing 3D product configurator examples, because it is always better to show it than it is to talk about it. We'll touch briefly on the next big thing in terms of that whole ecosystem of 3D and configuration. And then we'll get into a question and answer period. So feel free to throw some questions on the screen, and we'll address them either as we're going along or at the end of the presentation. So in terms of introductions, my name is John McNarty. I've been with Javelin for almost 18 years. Before that, I spent 15 years in manufacturing. My current role is the CPQ and CAD automation specialist. We'll talk about a little bit what that means in a little while. Those are my contact details if you want to get a hold of me after the presentation. So I got some good experience and have connected with over 600 companies over the past 18 years at Javelin, helping them out with SolidWorks and now CPQ technology. In terms of the people I work with directly, we've got as well as myself, we've got 3 certified DriveWorks application engineers. I'll tell you what DriveWorks means in a minute. We focus on providing training, mentoring, and project services. We've got a very experienced team, both in terms of SolidWorks experience in the 3D CAD arena, as well as DriveWorks for CPQ. Our team was put together in 2015, although we've been selling the DriveWorks CPQ platform since 2006. Our team also has strength in terms of programming. So we've written these, what we call industry applications, where the DriveWorks platform is not a good fit. We've got the ability to custom write applications to automate tasks in companies' businesses, and these are a few examples of some of the ones that we've written. DriveWorks is the platform. It's an add-on to SolidWorks. It enables things like automated drawings and automation of other tasks associated with design and engineering. It is our preferred platform. We've looked at others, and we found this to be the easiest and most robust of the ones that we've looked at. DriveWorks, the company, used to be a SolidWorks reseller, and they were writing a lot of applications to automate tasks, and in 2001, they decided to write this software called DriveWorks, and they've got customers all over the world, and have evolved from simple design automation, automated drawings, to the whole CPQ product offering. And we're going to get into that in a few moments. Actually, let's get into that now. So when I talk about product configurators, a lot of people refer to them in different terms. So these are going to be all interchangeable. People talk about 3D product configurators. I'll show a few of them now. People talk about product configurators that could be 3D, that could be pictures, sales configurators. I mean, look at the example of the trailer. The trailer could be any size and could have a lot of different accessories, whether it's the lighting or the doors, those sorts of things. People also talk about CPQ, or configure price quote. So that's another term that I use frequently to describe these configurators. And there's also parts selectors, right? So I use these interchangeably. I like to use the term CPQ, but the one thing I can tell you is that when you use the DriveWorks technology, you get much more than the ability to configure, price, and quote a product. So I'll show it to you. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because it's nicer to show it than to talk about it. Now, when we say business friendly, there's two aspects of it. When we refer to CPQ technology. So are you easy to buy from, right? Does your customer know what they are getting? Do they know what it looks like? Are your options available to your customers limited, right? Are you like Henry Ford that used to say, you can have any color you want as long as it's black, right? So what are you offering to your customers, and is that too limited? And how fast can you generate a quote? Invariably, when I'm talking to folks about this technology, a lot of times I'll talk to a sales guy, and they'll tell me 9 times out of 10, speed of quote is absolutely vital. The other aspect of being business friendly is the aspect of what else your configurator can do, what else is built into that system to automate tasks in your business. So when you look at configurators, are you just selecting parts of pre-configured options? And if so, how are those drawings being generated? Is it the case that with your system that you could design variants that don't already exist? And if they don't already exist, how can you generate the drawings to fabricate and manufacture those products? Is quoting connected to design, right? Are your systems disparate? Are they disconnected? And can you be doing multiple things at the same time? So we're going to address that. And is the design of your product the next bottleneck? So if somebody wants this pump assembly, like in that picture, and they specify it, how long does it take to generate the drawings, right? Has your bottleneck gone from generating the quote to generate the drawings? So those are the two aspects of what we refer to as business-friendly technology. So here's one of our success stories, a company called Thornton Bearings. They're in Burlington. They were spending a lot of time working with their customers and dealers who are located all over the planet, gathering all the information to develop designs for their bearings, their water lubricated bearings. And they weren't able to do any new product design. So they worked with us. We built the application for them, and we've connected their CAD, SolidWorks CAD software and design through DriveWorks, and have connected it to their CRM, ERP, and manufacturing databases, and have reduced days of work generating drawings and BOMs and other manufacturing content down to 6 to 11 minutes. And they have now exposed this website to their dealers. So their dealers, instead of calling in with this information, can literally show up to a customer site with a tablet, go through the specification process, and all the information needed to manufacture those drawings are ready literally within minutes. And as I said, we've connected it to CRM so they can manage all their sales opportunities. We're connected to ERP so we can pull out costs, so we know what the cost of each one of these assemblies are, so we can they can adequately price it or quote it. And it's a great example of a customer that we started working in 2007 and are still working with them to this day, adding more and more functionality. So rather than keep talking about these websites, let me show you a few. Let me get out of that and go into this. So I've got 5 examples of configurators that I can show you. They range from very simple to pretty amazing. I think they're all amazing. And I think you'll soon recognize that they are too, especially when you see some of the things that can be done with these systems. So this one was a system that I started showing a few years ago, and it gives you the option to choose whether to run it on a computer or on a phone. Okay, so let me click on the exchange rate. So I'm working in Canadian dollars. This is set up so that it's got some graphics to guide me along, but the couple of things to make you aware of. whenever I make a change to the height, depth, or width of this canopy or the roof pitch, you'll see that the price changes. So I've also got limits, so I can't enter values. Well, I can, and I'll show you what happens to them. So it's controlled by rules. So if you can't manufacture or deliver that size of canopy, it won't let you select it, and it'll give you an idea of price as you make these selections. It'll give you an idea of what the cost is. Now, there are multiple ways that I can enter height, depth, and width. I can have pull down lists that are possibly connected to your ERP system that will refer to standard sizes. Or if I want to be totally flexible and give my customer the almost unlimited control, I could just simply take that and slide it across, and you'll see that the size will change here, and so will the price, right? And I'll just click on the roof pitch. Now, there's no 3D here. It's just that image that's guiding me through. Let me put that at 10,000. Let's see what happens. It'll top it out at 6,000, right? So there's rules in behind here to limit what you can make, but still give you the flexibility within those sizes to ensure that you can manufacture and deliver that product. So as I keep wanting to update it, again, it's just pictures, very simple. So next thing I'm going to choose is the foundation. So I'm going to choose a base plate. So you'll see that it has an impact on the price. Also the color, that might have a price. So right now it's $14,999. So let me change that to dark blue, slightly more expensive. And this will also allow you to add things like warranty or paint protection, or whether you can erect the building for this customer. So now if I continue and put in my name and email address, I'll get all this content sent to me via email. But the point of it is, this is a product configurator, not a lot of 3D, but there are images that are there to guide you so you can make decisions and see what the impact of what those decisions are. Now, I also like to show this other example here, which will give you the same behavior, but it adds the element of 3D to it. Now, so when you look at day-to-day tasks like going to McDonald's, you now have those stands where you can configure a burger, right, with your toppings, or whether you want fries or a pop or whatever that is. Like, you can configure a meal using those kiosk-based systems. Now, when you're specifying a Big Mac, you probably don't need to know what it looks like. But when you get into things like T-shirts or using configurators to configure an automobile, the visual aspect becomes more and more important. And for certain industries, and there are a lot of them, one of them being furniture, that element of 3D comes in handy because it gives you an idea of size. It'll allow you to spin the unit around. In this particular example, you can pop open the doors and take a real close look, and get an idea of what you're getting. So in this example, we've got some detail associated with a quasi summary bill of materials. It shows some detail. I can turn some of that off. These websites can be designed to look any way you want. So you can have the price there or not. You don't even necessarily, with DriveWorks, you've got the flexibility to put this on a website or not. It's totally up to you. You can deploy it internally, you can deploy it in your design department, or if you're a larger company that has dealers across North America or the country or the world, you can set these up so that they are websites, and your dealers could come in here, specify products that can then be built and shipped to wherever the customer is. So although they're nice, they're graphic, this one has a lot of the same capabilities as the one I showed you earlier. So in the sense that if I change the width, you'll see that there's an instant update to the not only the graphics but also to the total dollar value. So if you're a dealer or if you're a customer or a mobile sales rep, you can see what happens, the impact of your decisions on these products. So I can just keep making changes. 800, right? So you can graphically see what you're going to get. Let me change that a little bit so it's a little bit more proportional. There you go. So there's another cupboard. Again, it's visual. You can see what it looks like. You now know what it costs. And there's also a lot of intelligence built into this. So if, for example, you are now wider and taller, there might be rules inside of this system that says, okay, instead of having a 1/2 inch thick wall, now you've got to go to 5/8 so you can support a greater load. So the system enables you to build design and engineering intelligence. So you're not just changing the size, but you're also changing it based on engineering rules so it can withstand the loads and physically stand up and not fall apart. So there are rules that get built into these systems. They're not just based on graphics. There's logic and intelligence and formulas in there to make sure that you're building something that is going to work and you can deliver to your customer. Now these are totally flexible in terms of height, width, and depth. You can put in set sizes. If you have CNC equipment and you want to offer flexibility, you can do things like this. Just enter whatever number you want. Now the thing with this is you can't just add whatever number. So if I put in 75,000, that will max out at 1,500 because that would be a rule that you put in there because perhaps you can't manufacture greater than 1,500 from in terms of the size, or maybe it's a material limitation or a machine limitation that prevents you from going any higher than that. Now, again, with this system, I can keep making changes. So if I wanted to turn that into mahogany, I can see kind of what it looks like, and you'll notice that it went from roughly 632 to almost double the price. So because we are connected to quoting systems and all the rules associated with that, we could reach into your ERP system to find out what the costs of the handles, the hinges, and all the material, so we can determine what the price is after every selection. So you got the capability of going backwards and forwards. Let's put that to maple. It's a little bit less expensive, right? Same with the door style. You can make that change. And part of the message today is that 3D graphics do offer value. Like if you're making these all day long, it might not matter to you what they look like. But if you're a customer and there's a visual aspect of your design that's important, you've got this option with the technology that we help implement. Again, make a change, updates, right? Now, the real magic behind this is that it's not just going to give you a graphical presentation. With this system and the systems that we implement, we can already automate the process of creating certain documents, such as a quote. So based on the selections that we've made, we've fed that information into a template and now can offer a price automatically generated, not having to wait for engineering or design to feed us information to put it together. That's all been done. It's all pre-engineered. It's all pre-set up. And this is just one of the multiple documents that you'll be able to create. Here's the bill of material, right? Again, I didn't have to go to engineering or anything. It was all set up ahead of time. One key aspect of it is, I've said it before, if you have preset sizes, you might have drawings that are already available. But the beauty of this system is that as long as you can manufacture and you've got CNC equipment and have the flexibility, if you design a configuration that doesn't exist, DriveWorks will create all that documentation, all the drawings, all the bill of materials, all the flat patterns. It'll do that all automatically for you. Here, in fact, is a cover letter, right? Just a few of the documents. And if I continue on, I'll just send this to myself. Oops. So when I hit the submit button, I'll get all this documentation generated all automatically and sent to me via email really quickly. So it'll be all the drawings for the parts and assemblies in PDF, cover letter, BOM quote, just showed you those, DXF of all the flat panels. If those are sheet metal parts, it'll flatten them for me and give me all the DXF data as well as the cut list. So I'm gonna hit the submit button. It's 2:21 right now, doing pretty good for time. And what you'll start seeing is that all the content that is going to be required to manufacture this product is going to start being automatically generated. So not only do you get the 3D graphics, but now that I've created the specification for this cupboard, it's going to put it into what's called the DriveWorks Autopilot, almost like a robot, and generate all the content automatically and then display it. So you'll see like the drawings and all the images. You can see here that the quotation is ready in PDF. Let me just pop that open. So there's the quote in a PDF document, generated automatically, virtually instantly. All the drawings are being set up. There's a couple of them, right? All these other documents have been created. You got the check marks, they're all ready. So again, part of the message is that the 3D graphics does add that element of a wow factor, a cool factor. It lets people see what they're actually designing. But the even greater value is the ability to generate all this content automatically. So if you want to eliminate the bottleneck of getting drawings into manufacturing, if you don't want your sales guys waiting for designs to be completed or costs to be derived with formulas and connecting with ERP and CRM systems, you can get all that information set up so that once you create a new variant, it's all ready for you. So here's the drawing. So it's 2:23, so 2 minutes ago, we hit the submit button, and here's a drawing for that. And what you'll see is that it was drawn by me on today's date. So just to show you that it was not done yesterday or before, this is all done based on the details that I gave it as I configured it for you right in front of your eyes. So 3D visualization, very graphical, but you also get the benefit of automating CAD drawings, bills of materials, flat patterns, photo renderings. Anything and everything that someone manually would do can be done automatically. Actually, it's even further than that. Like if you want to put bills of materials electronically into your ERP system, you've got the option or the ability to automate that. You can create opportunities in your CRM system. For example, if you're using Salesforce, you can create all your quote documentation and all the data to support it can be fed into that all electronically. So this does a great job of connecting a lot of different systems within your company and automates a lot of tasks to make sure that you're totally connected. So not sure if I said it, but when I talk to companies, a lot of times I'll be talking to sales folks or marketing folks, not necessarily engineering or design, because part of the value is the ability to get people onto your website and keep them there and get them to the point where they hit the RFQ button. That's really what this solution offers, or actually offers on the front end. But when you look at what it's capable of doing in the back end, it's quite amazing. So kind of running out of time, so I'll just do a couple of these real quickly. If you're doing layouts or like furniture that has a sequential feel to it, you can do something like this where you're adding sections and here's a curved section. Let me make that straight. I'll click that button there. Let me see if I can make that a little bit longer. I'll just stretch it out. So you'll see that this is building it literally on the fly. So these parts do not already have to exist. I can calculate the price. Here's the cost for you at the bottom. I can do things like taking these side rails off. Let me click that button, and now the side rails will come off. So you'll see a different type of assembly, and you can cost it out. So if you're doing, like we've got companies that are doing site furniture that are using this type of technology and building seating systems that can literally be anything, and are able to eliminate having to take details from a customer, put it into engineering, generate the drawing, generate the quote, and waste weeks and weeks of time. Whereas with this, you can be talking to your customer, or you can be standing next to them with an iPad and saying, here, well, this is how you want it to look. Let's build it, right? So when you're talking about layouts, there's another option here. Again, this is online. Doesn't have to be, but it gives you that option if that's something that you want to do. Here's another system that we did. It's not a system that Javelin built, but I found this 2 years ago, and I just think it's great. Like it's again very graphical. It looks appealing, and it gives you the ability to, for example, set it up to be 4 floors, right? So it'll update it. If you want more detail, you want a ceiling on your lift, you can take it off, right? And it brings it to the view where you see it. You can also do things like taking the cover off, right? So it shows that there is a lot of detail. It's not just straight pieces of aluminum or steel. So now you can also dress this up in a number of different ways. You can select the size, right? Now this one, those are predetermined sizes. Like I said before, you can do predetermined sizes, or with our technology, you can make it whatever the customer demands within the rules of what you can manufacture. So because you can auto-generate drawings, you've got the ability to offer both or either type of option, whatever works best for your business, whatever gives you a competitive advantage. You could start changing colors on this, right? So very visual, very graphical, 3D. You see what you're getting. It'll help you, guide you through the process. If you're not really keen on that color, you can change that and see what it looks like. So that, may or may not be better, but the point is you've got that option to see what it looks like. And as you're doing all this, work is going on in the background to make sure that the drawings that are generated are going to be as per what you've specified. So just make some more changes on there, right? Very impressive, very attractive. It's got the pricing there. You can see the summary, right? And you can hit the RFQ button if you are so inclined, and that information will be stored and referred to. And with our systems, you can go in, you can make changes. You're not bound to what you've selected. You can make changes if you want, or do other variants. But like I said, the whole idea is it's 3D, it's graphic, and there's a lot of automation that you get within your business to automate processes. Here's the last one I want to show, and this is a live business that manufactures cell phone covers. And the reason I like to show it is because it's run by DriveWorks, right? So you're now looking at DriveWorks, and you'll see that in a couple of seconds here, you'll see the default design. You can go in and start making changes to the pattern, for example. Let's change it to that. So that'll take a second or so. Very quick, very responsive, 3D, right? So you see what you're gonna get. Let me change the image here. Let's change that to a little kitty cat there. That'll just take a second or so. There you go. And I can keep making changes to it. Let's change that to there. There you go. Real quick, real responsive. See what you get. Now, the real nice thing about this application is that you can, like the others, tie it to e-commerce. So you can build your own shopping list, and you can pay for it, MasterCard or Visa. But when you hit the next button, what happens is they'll send this information, this CAD data, the model data, into a 3D printer and print that cell phone cover, give you the quantities that you want, and mail it to your door. So they've merged 3D CAD, 3D configurator technology via their CAD system, connected it to a 3D printer. Javelin is one of the biggest now in Canada for 3D printers, and so they've merged a couple of advanced technologies into their business to make them easy to buy from and their processes to be business friendly. So let's just a couple more slides to finish off the presentation, and then we can open up to Q&A. Feel free to throw out some questions at me, and we're happy to respond to them. So what are some of the benefits of 3D product configurators? Well, you know, there's a whole list of them there. To net it out, they're great because they give you the ability to visualize what your product is going to look like, what it's going to be. With the systems that we put together, we can connect it to other systems in your business. So if you've got Salesforce, or if you've got whatever ERP system that you're using to manage your inventory, we can connect with those to pull out pricing and BOM information, and then push it back once the bills of materials or the product has been fully defined. We have the automation. So if you've designed a conveyor that can be virtually anything, you can automatically generate all the drawings for variants that do not already exist. So if you want to get or have the ultimate in flexibility for your customers and design the same as but slightly different day in, day out, this gives you the ability to automate that task or those tasks. And it gives from a business standpoint, it makes you easier to buy from, more flexible to buy from, and it gives you the ability to automate internal tasks within your business. So those are some of the key benefits of the technology. In terms of the next big thing, sorry about that. People are using this technology not just to generate the CAD models, but are going to the extent of using augmented reality to see, for example, what those bookshelves look like in their rooms, and to use it within either a virtual reality or an augmented reality environment. So we work with a partner that does this type of work, so we can generate the CAD content automatically, and then they'll help you put it into these environments to make you more efficient in terms of being able to train people, show this information or these virtual machines at trade shows, for example. And so there's a lot of things that you can do once you've generated the information. So who cares about product configurators? Like I said before, a lot of times when I talk to people about these systems, I'm talking to someone in sales or marketing, because they're looking for ways to get people onto their website, keep them on there, get the RFQ, and get the quote out real fast. So it's a different way to connect with your customers. It's also for general managers or operations managers who need a way to support their dealers, whether they're located within the city or within the province, within the country, or within the continent. This gives you a great way for all your people that need to sell to go to one place to configure something, see what it looks like, and then automatically generate all the content to help sell it and manufacture it. IT managers are very important in this because a lot of times they're responsible for not just maintaining, but specifying systems that are going to give respond to their customers' requirements. As well, I talked to a lot of presidents and owners of companies who are looking for ideas that are going to make them far more efficient and a lot easier to buy from. So if you are in one of these groups, great. If not, feel free to refer those folks over to Javelin, and we'll have a quick discussion with them. The video will be made available to you, so if you want to share those internally within your organization, feel free to do so. So we've got a lot more information that we could share with you. We've got other webinar videos that are on YouTube, a lot of different titles, but a lot of them are kind of saying the same thing because the message is the same. And we've got talk to the tech guy sessions, so you can refer to our guys who are building these projects for our customers. And those websites that I'll show you are public. So if you need any information, any links, you know, I've given you a bit of a tutorial of how to use some of them, and there are others that you can play with. So let's go into some questions and answers. We've got one here. Okay, so our company has an ERP system and a configurator within it. How would this connect to it? So as I mentioned before, we connect with ERP systems to pull information out, such as parts or costs for parts, suppliers, all that type of information. And not only do we consume it, but we can push it back in once you've created a new configuration. We can also create new part numbers that we take from your ERP system if you've designed a variant that has never been built. So those are some of the ways that we connect with ERP. Some of the configurators within ERP systems do have the ability to help you spec a product out, but they may not have the full capability to automate the multitude of tasks that we can because of the level of integration that we have between DriveWorks and SolidWorks, the CAD tool. So if you're looking for that extra horsepower that allow you to give you, that enable you to that enable you to automate and connect and integrate, then the preferred solution in most cases is to look at DriveWorks and SolidWorks to be the front end. The other thing is some companies do have configurators. They're well established. We can take data from that. So if somebody's specifying a product, we can take information from ERP through the configurator and feed it into the SolidWorks master models and all the templates, and then generate all the CAD content. So that's another way that you can use existing ERP-based configurators to feed into SolidWorks through DriveWorks to generate and all the content needed to manufacture your products. I'm trying to go quickly here because we're kind of out of time. Okay, so next question: can it work with other CAD systems such as Inventor? So the answer is yes and no. So if you look at that cabinet, anything that has to be driven, like whether it's the height, the width, or depth, that will have to be in SolidWorks because that is the platform that DriveWorks is an add-on for. DriveWorks has built their application to drive SolidWorks only. So if you have a static data that's in, whether it's Pro Engineer, Creo, Solid Edge, IronCAD, if it doesn't change or have to be modified, then we can use that data quite easily and quite well. Anything that needs to be driven or modified in terms of size, that would have to be set up into SolidWorks. Now, the good news is we can take a lot of the CAD data, whether even if it's IGES or STEP, and we can reverse the features back in so that we can drive those parts and modify them. But in some cases, it might be easier just to remodel those parts so that they're modeled in the right way to optimize and facilitate the process of being driven and configured. Because there is a trick to being able to do this type of technology, this type of work. You know, we're getting into top-down versus bottom-up type of discussions. So the answer to the question is, can it work with other CAD systems? So the answer is yes and no. Yes, if you're just swapping parts in and out that don't have to change, but no, if you have to build that trailer, for example, into 125 feet and you've got to drive all the different sheets and all the locations of all the rivets, that has to be done in SolidWorks. So great question, and thank you very much for asking it. Any other questions? Okay, as well as cost, can the system report on margins and profitability? Um, it can, but that type of information really falls within the domain of a CRM system, like a Salesforce or a NetSuite. Those systems are better capable to establish margins or uh, you know gross profit and those types of details. So rather than write it into DriveWorks, which you can using code and programming, that is that sort of task is better managed within the sales force using those type of CRM tools, because those are built for that type of reporting and that type of management. Like you can build a DriveWorks comes with a administrative tool that allows you to take a look at all the uh, configurations or orders that you have built and all the quotes and data associated with it. But when you're talking about sales management and profitability, that is best done within the like a CRM system like a Salesforce or Microsoft CRM. That's really where it's best taken care of. Now, I'm glad that you asked it. That's one of the distinctions that we make in terms of, do I use my ERP-based configurator or do I use this other third-party software? When it comes to creating drawings and manufacturing content, that's really where you're going to need a system like this, the technology like this, to be able to enable the automation, the CAD automation, but you can feel totally confident that it still will integrate with other systems within your business. So you get the full picture of, yeah, this is the order that I've made. Was this profitable? And you can get a sense of that type of information. So good question. Thank you very much for asking that. Okay, so here's my contact details. Thank you very, very much for your time. I appreciate it. This video will be recorded and put up on YouTube pretty soon, and likely emailed out to you. Feel free to share it with others in your organization that are looking at these types of systems or implementing, or even are looking for ways to cut costs and be more business friendly. Thanks again for your time. Have a great day. And if you got any questions, feel free to get a hold of me.